I had been on the run for almost 3 months now, and my wolf and I were living in harmony. Every night, he would come to me, and I would make sure he was satisfied. Secretly though, I was exhaustedly trying to protect and nurture the light inside me, the child we had created. I could feel my wolf's power growing, and soon he would realize that I had been avoiding him for my own safety, knowing the danger associated with shifting while pregnant. I had to come up with a plan if I was to keep my baby safe. I remember carefully waiting for daylight and making sure I concealed my scent so my wolf wouldn't be able to trace me. I realized that he was still actively searching for me, so I had to traverse the territories of other packs, which took a lot of patience and planning. The nights were long and the days even longer. I was constantly on edge, never sure what maneuver he would make next or where he would find me. But I kept pressing on, going further and further out of my comfort zone, all in hopes of keeping my baby safe. And I'm relieved to leave them behind. I take some time to dress myself in my finest attire. Today is the day I finally escaped from the confines of this prestigious Ivy League institution. Athena, it is the last day of my time here, and I couldn't be happier. I have always been surrounded by fellow students who believed I didn't belong in this elite institution, and I'm relieved to leave them behind. I take some time to dress myself in my finest attire. A soft gray shirt dressed with a slim black belt and black flats. Today feels like a good day as there's already a pot of coffee waiting for me, along with some leftover happy graduation cupcakes. It seems that someone's parents have generously left them for those who missed out. In addition, I noticed a few mothers anxiously waiting for their daughters to get ready for their own graduation ceremonies. Heading back into my room, I quickly devour my coffee and the sugary treats, hoping that they will somehow magically transform my tired appearance into something more presentable. However, despite my efforts, I still look worn out, almost as if I have spent the entire night cramming exams. In reality, I have been indulging in the typical college experience of party hopping and engaging in the usual drinking culture. It has been a whirlwind of social events, moving from one party to another, be it a fraternity house or a common room in the dorm. As I glance down at the bag I have chosen to carry, a blue sequin clutch I received as a birthday gift when I turned 15. I can't help but question its practicality for this occasion. After all, where would I possibly go that would require such a fancy purse? My companion, Athena, my loyal wolf, reminds me that we may not have much, but at least we have each other. I should also express gratitude to Alpha Derive for ensuring that I stay in one of the all-girl dorms, as it means that Jason, someone I would rather not be rooming with, is not right next door. Perhaps he chose to wear gray today to match me, knowing that it is my go-to color. My companion, Athena, my loyal wolf, reminds me that we may not have much. Jason, today is a significant milestone for me, and I am ready to embrace the next chapter of my life beyond this institution. In the office, Betty Arlo and I were not alone. Betty Arlo was seated in front of Alpha Deri's desk. It is evident that Betty Arlo does not have an issue with me being an assistant in the office, as he has previously praised my work. Alpha Derive often includes me in the head group during dinner time, and I believe he has already been informed that I will be moving to the top floor next week. It is important for Betty Arlo to understand that I have no interest in pursuing a romantic relationship with Jace for his status within the pack or the wealth he may inherit. Additionally, I am certain that Betty Arlo believes Jace would be better suited with someone other than myself. However, I wonder if we can persuade Alpha Derive to command Betty Arlo to stay away from us. Betty Arlo's question is directed towards the Alpha, and Alpha Derive remains composed as he responds, indicating that we certainly do not want Betty Arlo interfering. Alpha Derive expresses his frustration by inhaling deeply and pinching the bridge of his nose. I explained to Alpha Derive that when Betty Arlo entered the room, he startled me, causing me to lose my balance and fall backwards. However, it was not a significant incident as he caught me and noticed my state of undress, seemingly unwilling to let me go. It appears that Betty Arlo continued to stand there, as I recall Alpha Derive instructing him to go downstairs and burn off his energy on the training field. Doubling up on warrior training is a common form of punishment, and I believe Beta Arlo is physically capable of enduring it. As I navigate through my thoughts, I cannot help but notice that Alpha Dries is visibly agitated, which is a rare sight. This situation has left me feeling overwhelmed and consumed by my own thoughts. In conclusion, the Alpha's environment is currently tense due to the presence of Beta Arlo and the complications surrounding my relationship with Jace. I hope to find a way to ensure that Beta Arlo keeps his distance from us. As Alpha Dries seems to share this sentiment, the incident involving Beta Arlo's intrusion and my subsequent fall has caused a stir within the office. Nonetheless, I am determined to protect the pack and its members to the best of my abilities. As commanded by Alpha Dries, the Artemis pack stumbled back to the parking lot, exhausted but relieved to have managed the journey here safely. We silently made our way towards the waiting cars, wary of potential threats. Suddenly, I heard a faint whirring sound coming from behind me. I quickly turned to investigate its source, curious as to what could be making such a noise. The next thing I saw was a man wearing a black leather jacket. He was setting up a drone, hovering above us. In an instant, I realized he was attempting to gain insight into the members of our pack, as well as our relationship with Alpha Dries. I could feel Athena tense up beside me as she surveyed the situation. We stopped and watched as he flew the drone higher and higher. In this text, the author discusses various items that are kept in an apartment and the sentimental value they hold. The author explains that even though these items may not be used frequently, they are still cherished and kept as a reminder of the past. The author mentions that the presence of spare items is necessary due to the damaging nature of a wolf's own clothes. The author then shifts the focus to the significance of these items during summer vacation and graduation. The presence of these items serves as a symbol of welcome and celebration for those returning home or completing their studies. The author also adds a humorous remark about the possibility of someone unexpectedly walking among them. The author highlights the silence in their mind and how it prompts them to engage in a playful banter with someone named Athena. Despite the potential for causing annoyance, the author enjoys the loveliness and distraction that it brings. The author also mentions that someone named Alpha Dries has set a dress code that excludes jeans. Additionally, the author mentions that Alpha Dries had unintentionally revealed their luminous clothing choices, which has become a source of embarrassment for the author. The author compares this incident to the first day of school, suggesting that it will be remembered for a long time. The author briefly mentions someone named Jace, who is expected to sit at the head table with his father and the other red wolves. The author expresses their intention to visit someone, indicating that they are willing to offer their support and kindness. Finally, the author observes that everyone, except Jace, is already seated at the head table. This observation signifies the importance and hierarchy associated with this seating arrangement. At first, our convoy of softs seemed nothing out of the ordinary as we headed away from the graduation ceremony. Yet, the further away from the ceremony we journeyed, the more I realized the extent of security measures in place to protect us. Athena, one of our pack members, had displayed her keen sense of smell and vigilance by constantly surveying our surroundings. I couldn't help but notice her focus and determination to keep our path safe and secure. Just as we were about to reach our destination, a faint whirring sound emitted from behind us. I quickly turned my head to investigate and noticed the drone hovered above us. I felt a chill pass through my body as I realized the seriousness of the situation. It was clear that we'd been tracked. I knew that having new space of our own would be beneficial to the pack, but convincing Alpha Dries of this in the midst of such scrutiny was going to be an almost impossible task. Suddenly, one of the softs pulled away from the rest of our convoy, and a figure stepped out, Alpha Darius' son, the new head of security. He waved at us, indicating that it was time to separate. So we formed pairs and headed in different directions. Anxiety and fear filled the air as we went our separate ways. All of us aware that this was not merely a case of graduation celebrations. My stomach turned as I realized that other packs, as well as human hunters, could be tracking us. I knew that without Alpha Darius' son in charge of security, the pack would be in a much more vulnerable position. It seemed like the air was filled with ghosts that followed us as we traveled home. The only thing we knew for sure was that we had one another. The Artemis pack had endured much together, and this was just another challenge that we would have to overcome. We would soon discover the answer to our questions. But until that happened, we all knew that maintaining vigilance remained our top priority. Throughout the week, Mama would walk me out of the pack house and provide me with more information about the school I would soon be attending. According to Mama, the school building was incredibly old, boasting a history of more than 100 years. She explained that over time, they had expanded the school to accommodate the growing number of students. When I asked Mama why they needed to make it bigger, she responded by saying that wolves like us constantly have more pups, leading to an increase in the student population. Mama also enlightened me about the olden days when schools used to have large bells on top of them. These bells would ring, signaling the beginning and end of the school day to the entire town. Imagining myself in one of the small classrooms, Mama described how the walls would be adorned with our artwork, which would be secured with sticky tape. Additionally, there would be various enjoyable items such as oversized Lego blocks, storybooks, and playhouses that would allow me to immerse myself in imaginative play, assuming different roles and identities. The teacher at the school would be responsible for looking after all the pups my age and teaching us new things. As I arrived at the school, I discovered that Mama's descriptions were accurate. She introduced me to a lovely woman named Miss Emily, who was dressed in a vibrant yellow summer dress. Feeling a bit unsure, I scrunched up my face and tugged on Mama's hand a few times. Sensing my apprehension, Mama reassured me, whispering that everything would be alright. Miss Emily stood up to engage in a conversation with Mama, and I observed their interaction. She asked me if I knew how to spell my name. Gently picking up my old name card and folding it into her pocket, I eagerly responded, guiding her in writing out my name. Miss Emily possessed the talent for making my letters look exceptionally pretty, which brought a smile to my face. In the span of 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, I found myself completely engulfed in a whirlwind of responsibilities. I was attempting to juggle a full-time job for both the elf and his Luna, leaving me with little time for anything else. Even Jace, whom I usually communicated with regularly, was too preoccupied to send more than a few text messages a day. It seemed that everyone was caught up in the chaos of double training sessions for all junior warriors, a necessary endeavor to ensure they were up to speed during the summer break. The alpha, after having a conversation with Jace, was brimming with excitement as he anticipated receiving his promotion. Though I suspected there might be more to the story, I knew the alpha would keep any concerns or worries from me, not wanting to burden me unnecessarily. Brushing off my question, he reassured me that we would be prepared for the following morning and suggested we scavenge for leftovers in the kitchen. With a firm grip on my hand, he led me towards the tantalizing aroma of food that permeated the air. In the kitchen, we were greeted by Gloria, who cheerfully handed Jason 2 covered plates from the warmer. I couldn't help but wonder what she was hoping I would find amidst the delicious smells that surrounded us. As if reading my mind, Gloria presented me with a second tray, bearing 2 mugs of coffee and plates of mini chocolate lovely cakes. Perhaps, with a bit of puppy dog eyes, I could convince Jason to share his dessert with me. Observing the opulence and indulgence that surrounded them, I couldn't help but ponder why individuals like the elf and his Luna would lead a lavish lifestyle and surround themselves with enticing companions. However, amidst these thoughts, a question from Jace interrupted my musings. He asked if I had ever considered what I would do if I hadn't found my mate. I could see the anguish in his eyes, as if he were tormented by the possibility of finding his own mate. In a moment of vulnerability, I proposed that we each take a year to search our mates, and if we were both unsuccessful, we could choose each other. In response, Jason made a heartfelt promise, assuring me he would do anything to make me happy. This pledge resonated deeply within me, showcasing the depth of his love and commitment. Despite the chaos and uncertainty that surrounded us, I couldn't help but feel a sense of comfort and security in his words. Alpha Darius and the rest of the Artemis pack left the graduation ceremony with excitement and enthusiasm. Despite the promises of eternal friendship between classmates, they acknowledged that their true allegiance was to the beloved pack. Knowing danger lurked around every corner, Athena, as head of security, scouted for potential threats as the pack walked to the parking lot. While the group stayed alert, Alpha Darius and I exchanged a silent but knowing glance. We were together, and that's all that mattered. For now, at least, I knew that at some point in the future, the pack wouldn't want the relationship between Alpha Darius and I to continue, and I would have to find some way to convince them otherwise. Suddenly, a faint whirring sound caught my attention. I spun out, only to discover a procession of black souls following along. Our pack had the highest security measures, and these vehicles were proof of that. It was both reassuring and enraging. It was evident that the others lacked faith in our capabilities and saw us as potential threats even though we hadn't been the ones to start any conflict. As we moved through territories full of human lands and other packs, I sent a silent prayer to the moon. As the pack's alpha, I wanted Alpha Darius to be aware that we needed a secure space, free from the troubles of the outside world, that we could call our own. We continued to make our way to our destination, and I continued to rest my focus on the future. One day, Alpha Darius' son would succeed him as head of security, and with his support, we would find our safe haven and freedom. As we walked back through the vast expanse of landscape to our pack's territory, I sensed my alpha's uneasiness growing. Athena continued to maintain watch around us, her senses alert and perceptive. I saw her glance back multiple times and noticed the warning expressions on her face, as well as the vigilance of the other pack members. We were all nervous and aware of the potential dangers ahead. Suddenly, I heard a faint whirring sound coming from behind me. I quickly turned my head to investigate its source, curious as to what could be making such a noise. It was an unmanned drone, hovering about 100 feet above us. I saw it follow us for a moment before disappearing into the horizon. It was then that I fully realized the magnitude of the security measures that Alpha Darius and our pack took to protect us. Not only did we have a convoy of sus that traveled with us, but now there was a drone that monitored us from the air. Although I knew we were safe, I couldn't help but feel frustrated. I wanted to be able to spend time alone with Alpha Darius and not have to worry about the constant surveillance. But I knew that it was necessary to ensure our safety and the protection of our pack. As we arrived at our destination, I also realized that having a dedicated space of our own would be beneficial for me and the pack. I was hopeful that Alpha Darius would agree and that we could finally have some peace and quiet without interruption. Unfortunately, I wasn't so sure if the other packs or individuals would agree to this arrangement, but I knew that Alpha Darius was a powerful and wise leader, and that he would make the best decision for our pack.